Yo, what up, what up, what up? This is the Lazy Philosophers Podcast, and we are back in the building. So, guys, if you might have noticed that I did not post an episode yesterday, and the reason why was because I have kind of lost all my momentum. It came to a grinding halt yesterday where I produced a minimally viable day, and that's where I just got done just enough, but it was just like enough, and nowhere near the amount of production that I was having last week or even 4 or 5 days before that. And so what I did was, and I'm going to walk you through the process of restarting up your momentum again. So last night I did not, I'm out of breath because I just did push-ups. So excuse me. But last night I went to bed late and I realized that if I chose to basically choose that as my nighttime, which was like 3 a.m., I would be starting this next day with no momentum, because for me, I'm very much of a morning person. So I decided to get out of bed really early, start my day. Now, how you get back momentum is the biggest problem when you have no momentum is good ideas stop sounding rational. So things that sound like whereas you're like, oh, I have 5 minutes, let me record a podcast, or let me type up something, or let me update my course, or let me send off emails or prospect or whatever. All those things, they don't make sense. They're like, why would you ever do that? Everything feels impossible. You kind of feel in this gray state of what's the point of doing anything? So what you need to do, start by tidying up your surroundings, not cleaning your surroundings, because cleaning won't even sound logical because it will be too much effort and you have no momentum. And so even your brain doesn't, to get into a state where you're going to clean up an entire room is ridiculous. So just say I'm going to, pick up a couple pieces of trash, fold some clothes or something. And this is going to get your brain kind of acclimated and in the flow. The other thing you want to do is you want to, whatever to-do list mechanism you're using, whether Google Calendar or whatever, I have a get done list. Once you've lost all momentum, stop that thread. What I mean by that is so my Google Doc expands like 20, 30 pages, right? I completely stopped that one. That one had served its purpose. That one no longer has momentum. It no longer has viability. You start anew, right? You start anew, and I've started building out my new got done list. That way I can start with new momentum, fresh start. You're not trying to make something that's already kind of broken, that no longer has authority over you, work. You're trying to start something new to have authority over you, building a new relationship with it. It seems metaphorical, but symbolic, but our brains are very powerfully geared towards symbols. The other thing that I would do is I would find out what were the things that kind of led to you losing momentum. For me, things started going off the rails when I lifted my 11 p.m. curfew. 11 p.m. is when I usually go to bed, shut off all electronics, usually sleep within 30 to 40 minutes after that. And at first I did it, I started getting more done, but then it became a route for a lack of discipline, lack of predictability, lack of just overall efficiency. So if you don't have a mandatory curfew for yourself, I would definitely instill it. It's one of the things that really, whenever I watch things go off the rails, I usually check, am I going to bed at the right time? Am I shutting off electronics at 11 p.m.? That's usually the first thing. And usually that was something that went by. So I'm going to reinstitute that. The other thing that I think is really important is that when you're building up momentum is to not talk too much to friends. The reason why is, at least for me, and I think for most people, your social self is different than your productive self. If you notice, when your friends are very productive, they might not be as conversational. When you're very productive, you might not be as conversational. It's because I think it actually uses different parts of the brain. I'm not too sure, but I know with myself, if I say I'm going to change and then call my friends and talk about changing, I will get in a jovial kind of mood and it will lead to me getting less done. So until I have kind of picked up kind of a momentum force, that I'm not going to be talking to anybody. And that's not going to be like a whole 3-4 days or anything. It's just a few hours of just getting back self-respect for myself, getting things done, getting back on my kind of mission and path. The other thing is I would lower the bar for working on things. So one of the things that I'm a big fan of is when I write down tasks, I break down tasks into their smallest components. I've recorded other things about this. When you have no momentum, you want to make the bar even lower. The reason is that because your usual bars might be too high to be logical or rational, and to your unmotivated self. So you want to lower down the bar even more, so you can just get something done, and that's going to move you in the right direction. Physical activity is good and everything. Another thing I would say is resist the urge to make. Whenever you lose momentum, a lot of people have the impulse to make their loss of momentum, their loss of productivity, their loss of discipline sound like a pathology, sound like it's a central component of who they are, and it's not. It just means that you lost momentum, just like a lot of people, and you haven't built up an infrastructure to capture momentum back efficiently. And so the less you kind of romanticize your failure, don't be like, oh, why am I like this or anything like that, you're going to be able to get back on the ball a lot quicker, because you're just going to understand like, oh, this happens to literally all moving objects. Lose momentum, you got to kind of readjust, recenter, and then go. Think of yourself as kind of a NASCAR or F1 car where you need to change out tires from time to time, and it's not necessarily rest. Sometimes your shit just blows up and you just got to take a time to recalibrate and move forward. The other thing is, if you're starting to feel motivated, for me personally, I started feeling a huge wave of motivation like at 4 a.m. when I wasn't sleeping, rather than waste the motivation, because a lot of people's like, it's not motivation, it's discipline. Here's the thing. Yes, but when motivation comes, the spirit blesses you, take advantage of it. It's not always there. So rather than close your eyes and wait for tomorrow where you might be reset and not have any obligation to the momentum that you're feeling right now, that motivation that you're feeling right there in that instance, take that, do some push-ups, get your day started at that point, right? And I would recommend, if you're up really late and you're like, man, I'm a complete piece of shit, why am I still up? Is to just bite the bullet, stay up a full 24 hours and make yourself some coffee, start getting work done right there. Work done in that moment is better than saying that you're going to get work done tomorrow, especially when it's in the what I call twilight hours. Anything pretty much after 11:30, or not, maybe like 1 o'clock in the morning, where your next day is going to be kind of fatigued, lethargic, late starting. Just go ahead, take a shower, drink some coffee, get going, get as much done as you can. Show yourself that you actually mean this commitment to change and you're trying to get back this momentum. Stay up a full 24 hours. You're probably going to get in bed around 9 p.m. and that's going to be a positive momentum swing. These are things that are really important to learn, because you will fall off track. You will fail. You will let yourself down. It's not so much about whether or not you do, it's that you will. What you want to do is you want to minimize the amount of time that you're in a state of lethargy, that you're in a state of unmotivated behavior. And what's going to be a big indicator of whether or not you've lost momentum is your dreams will feel more impossible. Your future plans will feel very impossible. When you're in a state of high momentum, everything feels possible, because you're basically, it's as if you're making a lot of money, right? Let's say you're day trading. When I was trading crypto, I was making like $15,000 a month. And I thought that was just going to go down forever. Was for like 3 or 4 months, I was doing between 15 and 9,000 in profit. And then that slowly dried up, because I didn't have number one market, blah, blah, blah. But so you're going to be a lot more optimistic when you're in momentum, and you're going to be overly pessimistic when you're out of momentum. And when you're getting pessimistic about your future, that means you need to momentum check yourself. Anyway, guys, that's enough. I just wanted to get this out there, increase my momentum. It's early in the morning, get some wins on the board. Hope you guys get some wins on the board. Love you guys. Love you.